Okay, another thing that pops up in the test is muting and soloing items in your timeline, and that has to do with audio, which if I can get make my screen a little bit bigger here. That has to do with audio, and mostly it's there for helping you mix multiple sources of audio together at the same time. So when you drop down some music into your timeline, it normally comes through at full volume, and you have to mix it down and get it to blend with the person who's with the dialogue or with the other audio in the timeline. And sometimes it helps, especially when you have 3 or 4 tracks of audio happening at the same time, like maybe some music or some sound effects and some talking, things like that. If you have those things happening all at the same time, sometimes it helps you to mute one or multiple tracks of audio so that you can listen to one, get it at a good volume, and then mute that one and then unmute the other ones so you can keep mixing the sound together. Okay, so we're just going to go through the basics of it. This pops up on the test. I think one time it showed up on the test where it just said where you were matching buttons or things from Premiere to what they do. And I think one thing I saw was an M. It was just an M. And if you don't know what M is, you have no idea what that's talking about, just M. So M stands for mute and S stands for solo. So we are here in Adobe Premiere working, and let's just say we drop down some music into this track real quick, and you got him talking, and then you have music pops in
the U.S. Marine Corps. She was selected for
and it's clearly too loud. So what we want to do is possibly what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mute the music track and play it back so that I can get the person speaking at a good volume before I try to mess with getting it mixed with the music.
Born in Kingston, Jamaica, and immigrated to Brooklyn. She was selected for the Marine Corps.
And of course, when that M is checked green right there, you can see it. That means muted. And once you uncheck it, you get both back. Now, we got the speaker's voice at a good level, so we're going to mute him, and we're going to get music down at a good voice. At a good level. It's clearly too loud. I'm going to bring it down some. Try to blend it. Okay, so now we can barely hear that audio, right? We can barely hear it, but we know that it's going to mix well, or mix better at least, with the person who's talking. So,
1991. In 2018, Malak was nominated as Brigadier General and was confirmed in
Okay, so it's just there in the background, which is where we want it. We don't want it to distract from the talking. We just want it to help us keep our audio a little more interesting than just a person speaking on their own. Now, that's muting. So what might happen is you might have multiple tracks of audio happening all at the same time. So I'm just going to stack some audio right there. And you might want to find out if something's loud enough. So if you've got multiple tracks of audio, sometimes the easier thing to do is just to solo a track, because what soloing does is it automatically mutes every other track of audio, so all you hear is the one that you have soloed. Okay? Like that. So if we uncheck that, we'll hear basically a bunch of noise.
In higher education from the University of Oklahoma at Norman.
Because I got two tracks of audio stacked happening at the same time. So hopefully that helps. Muting and soloing makes sense. Soloing is when you want to turn off all the tracks except for one, the one you have checked. And muting is when you want to silence a track and hear everything else. Now, what you need to remember is on the test, they ask on the test, a question pops up where they ask you to mute a track of audio and then export the clip. So when you have tracks muted, it turns that track off even through the export. So if we muted this track right now, when we exported it, we would not hear the music, or we would not hear anything in this bottom track right here. Okay, so you just need to remember that. And again, same thing, if you solo a track, when you export it, the only thing you're going to hear is the track you have soloed. So you need to remember that for your own purposes, but also in the test, they may ask you to do that. And if you go through here and just set your in and out point and export the video from the points that they ask you to do, but don't mute or solo whatever they ask you to mute or solo, if they do ask you that, the question's not going to be right. Okay, so that's muting and soloing in the timeline. Hopefully that helped. We'll see you again on the next video. Thanks.